86 is very powerful. It knows how to make you emotionally invested and emotionally devastated. Eugene's death, I think, could have easily been something very flashy, very in your face, or very much what you typically come to expect from character deaths in anime. But 86 going from them bonding, and obviously he was a walking death flag for a little bit here. I firmly expected him to die in this episode. In fact, there very much was a point where he was about to be obliterated and Shin saved him. He had death flags. But what 86 does so well is that rather than making things plot points, and rather than making things glorified war messages, rather 86 does the most effective thing I think I've seen when it comes to anime deaths. Two characters with, probably similar opinions of what life should be like in a perfect world. Shin stands up, says the Legion are coming, they say their goodbyes, and the next scene that we see these two in is a severed hand holding a locket, and images too graphic, I'm pretty sure, for YouTube. They essentially made him into just meat, blood, guts, on the ground. And we didn't see how he got to that point. We didn't see what caused him to be like that, because that's not the important message of something like that. The war is not looking good for them. They are clearly losing the war, and every time you go out to that battlefield, you should assume it's your last time being alive. And the fact that they just made it that quick, made it that abrupt, you're thinking, wait, that has to be a different character. There's no way that's him. We didn't see him die. The fact that 86 is that bold, the fact that 86 can show us something like that, not give this giant scene, seeing him fight for his life frantic, thinking of his sister. No, we saw that. We saw how much he cares, how much he wants to make money for her, make sure that he gives her a good life. And the next scene we see, he can't even hold the locket to his eyes by himself because his arm's severed. He needs Shin to do that for him as he closes his eyes for the last time. That's what makes 86 so compelling to me, that this is a show that understands what war should be presented as if you're going for something real. It doesn't matter if we have mecha-like machines. It doesn't matter if we can harvest the brains and create these monstrosities. It's a very realistic series with supernatural elements that obviously are unrealistic, but it never negates from the realism of its character writing and how it's presenting its war-themed topics. I mean, this episode, it was interesting because I wasn't expecting them to just jump into them already being a part and having graduated their schooling and things like that. But it kind of makes sense given the type of story we're at. Do we really want to go back to school? Do we really want to see this or that? And from what I've heard from source readers, that they're definitely going to speed past Volume 2 in order to focus most of the season on Volume 3, which I guess is even more compelling. So it makes total sense given the pacing. I mean, I'm sure there will be some source readers who maybe will look at how Core 1 did an entire light novel, but I think if what I'm hearing from source readers is to be believed, I think it makes total sense to go this direction. So not really showing that, and I'm not sure if that was in the source or not. At first, it kind of took me back, but quickly I adjusted and understood that this is way more interesting of content. Having Best Boy Fido pop back up. Didn't expect that in the slightest. And to see the kind of like what they did for them in sort of like a grave memorial / recreating Fido in a new body, but his core that made him who he was is still alive and well. And to see Shin for the first time in so long truly light up and feel happy and, the gun and everything like that. It was an episode about making you feel good. I was talking about it last week about that, just everything about like the holidays and the civilization. It's not going to last, but it's something that they definitely deserved. And something that I think they did a great job at is the kind of PTSD of survivor's guilt / people being so used to a war that they can't adjust to normal lifestyle. It's tragic, and they definitely should just be kids. They should just get normal jobs. They shouldn't have to do that. But they have lived a life of such pain for so long that they can't be anything else. And it's very tragic to see Shin go from, talking with someone who, in a normal situation, both of them should have just been kids. They should have got normal part-time jobs, worried about school, worried about love. Instead, because of their wealth, having to fight for your sister's well-being, to then not knowing anything other than killing, they ended up once again on the battlefield, and one made it, one didn't. It's interesting to see the hostility towards Shin. I mean, it's one of those things that in the general public, it's very warm and like saying we're going to save the 86, but given Shin and just everything in terms of reputation with 86 and The Undertaker and everything like that, it's very much hostile, but given the side he was originally fighting for and how they treated him as a disposable tool versus still having that hostility that probably is, and unfortunately, feeling like home for him because of how he was raised, but also still having a genuine side that is probably more worth fighting for, though there's definitely traditions that are disgusting. The idea of the mascot, luckily they said it was a dying tradition, but the idea of sending a little girl in to basically motivate the soldiers, it's just, there's so much toxic aspects about this war, and they don't glorify them. They don't try to excuse them. They just say, it's disgusting, and you're going to probably agree with it. And it's incredible to see how this show hasn't let up. What is this, episode 14 overall? Incredible that it just feels like the story and the maturity is just getting better. And the animation definitely isn't letting up. That jump scene with Shin, absolutely incredible. And just the numerous times that I was just like, the speed, the velocity of everything, so well done. The particle effect, something that I think often action scenes get wrong. They don't let the environment interact with the attacks. Like, if you have a giant mecha jumping and blowing apart, dust, debris, everything should be in the air. And 86 constantly does that with beautiful lighting to back it. It's interesting to see when they were kind of getting punished during the first training montage, how Shin, basically he got 0, which I actually like that just because he's a skilled warrior. They don't just say, hey, well done, because you've kind of been a suicidal bastard on the battlefield your entire life. But there was some genuine praise about, I would rather sacrifice one leg than to sacrifice both of our bots' legs. It's just really interesting to see his mentality and how similar yet different he's acting / interacting with. And it's tragic to see how he just can't go live a normal life. And the idea of just eating dinner, having that scene, and knowing the Legion are coming, it's pain. Like, 86 has without a doubt been one of this year's standout stories. It's something that is original, despite at face value thinking probably, oh, mechas and war and the age of the characters. Like, we've seen so many series use that formula, yet 86 has nothing really about it that makes me, for more than a second, say, oh, this reminds me of blank, right? And Saturdays are really good for that because of, like, even The Faraway Paladin, which I'm reviewing, is a fantasy show, unlike really anything you can see. 86 with that military emotional story. Like, it's so great to see the quality of anime coming out this season, and it's interesting that they chose to not only split apart Lena and the 86, but now Shin and the 86 are separated. Like, there's very much separation happening here, and I think that makes the pain all the more real because you only have one character you're focusing on for the most part, that being Shin, and to see how he's dealing with this, it's just not a healthy lifestyle, but that's all he knows, and that's what's so painful. Let me know your thoughts and feelings, though, on this week's 86 episode. Where do you think it's going to go from here? Leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.